Hi, rodafleming in the Philippines here, and things seem to be getting back a bit to normal. You know, we actually had some deliveries today, and apparently some of the stuff I've been waiting for months is waiting at the post office. What about that? Anyway, first one today is quite an important one, and I think everybody should pay attention here. There has been a problem with gay men, not so much in the United States, but particularly in the Muslim world, being outed in a very, very weird story. And I'm just going to go through this because if you are a gay man, especially if you're a closeted gay man, you need to listen to this. And what has happened is that it also covers some other stuff we're going to get to. Essentially what happened is that a so-called transgender model and influencer, Sofia Taloni, who is actually a Moroccan, but she's based apparently in Istanbul in Turkey, she used an Instagram Live to encourage women in Morocco to set up fake accounts on gay chat apps. And she wanted them to do this because she said they would discover how many men use the platforms, including potentially their husbands and brothers. She said her aim was to call out hypocrisy in Moroccan society by showing people how many men are secretly gay in the country. Now, Morocco is a Muslim country, and if you've been listening to what I've been saying over the last considerable time, there is an awful lot more homosexuality going on in Muslim countries than they admit or they're prepared to discuss in public. And to an extent, I can therefore understand what this person, Sofia Taloni, is up to. At the same time, I think what she's done is completely irresponsible and unbelievably dangerous, and it does appear to have already led to the death of one person. And she's talking about apps, gay apps like Grindr. I don't know anything about these things, but you know. It says many men use apps, including Grindr, as a way to connect in private because LGBT organisations and meeting places are illegal in Morocco. And now activists in the country are encouraging men to close their accounts to protect themselves. However, despite this, photos of men quickly started circulating on other social media platforms, resulting in their abuse and embarrassment and harassment. Ms. Taloni has apparently been supported in the past by the LGBT community in Morocco and their Facebook group. So it's very odd, this. The LGBT community in Morocco routinely faces discrimination and violence. This campaign coincides with lockdown, you know, the nonsense that we're all living with, and the holy month of Ramadan. And in Ramadan, everybody is back together with their families, and it's a time when Muslims are actually at their most conservative. And you're talking about a pretty conservative bunch. You know, practicing Muslims are very conservative. They're very socially conservative. And so now you have people who are being basically sequestered with their families, their conservative families, whom they might not normally live with. And these are young men who are secretly homosexual. They're having gay relationships in secret, and women, thanks to this Sofia Taloni, women have been finding out who they are and giving them hell for it, and it's a real problem. A lot of people said an LGBT representative called Mr. Muti explained, you might be in lockdown with a homophobic family, and with Ramadan people are very concerned about morality. Things might get heated, by which he means things might get violent. If men feel forced out of their homes because of intimidation, they have nowhere to stay because hotels are closed, thanks to lockdown, and special permission is required to travel between cities, again because of lockdown. Now, Miss Taloni's account has now been taken down by Instagram. It was an Instagram Live. It's been taken down. I believe her Facebook has also been taken down now. And Human Rights Watch is calling on the Moroccan government to enforce the right to privacy and to decriminalise same-sex relations, which they have been doing for a long time, to be fair to them. The Moroccan authorities should immediately step in to protect LGBT people's privacy and repeal anti-LGBT laws that can only fuel this homophobic behaviour, it said in a statement on Monday. That's HRC. And it went on to say, What we're seeing is just the tip of the iceberg. Many people are suffering in silence, and this is all absolutely true. What you have to realize is that Islamic culture has a great deal of male homosexuality in it. It may well have a lot of female homosexuality, we don't know about it, right? But male homosexuality is endemic in Islam because pederasty is endemic in Islam. Islamic boys, and it's a perfectly natural thing to do. There's nothing wrong with this. What happens is that they grow up in a situation where there are no girls. You can't touch the girls. In Islam, girls are untouchable. So how do boys enjoy their first experiences of sex? They do it with each other. There's nothing weird about this. It doesn't mean they're gay. It just means, even if that means anything, but it just means that, well, you know, what does your bits do? Let's show each other what our bits do. And this is normal. This is perfectly natural. And basically in Islamic culture, normally a completely blind eye is turned to this. No, fine, it's just the kids, leave them alone, you know. Sometimes we find older men developing relationships with these boys at the time that they are being sexually explorative in a way that's very similar to other instances of pederasty across the world. One of the big problems that has occurred is that because of USican culture and because of USican ideas, it's now held that, you know, if you fool around with a boy once in your life, then you're obviously gay, which is complete and utter nonsense. It's complete nonsense. It's a way that the new gay man uses to entrap more people into his cult. But it's nonsense. It's quite normal for boys to explore each other's bodies. That doesn't mean anything. It's just exploration. It's just, you know, it's nothing. It means nothing. But the problem is that if they continue to desire, particularly to be the receptive partners in sex with other males, and actually nobody in Islam gives a monkey's about the guy who's doing the poking. It's the one who gets poked that bothers people. If he continues to desire men as he grows up and doesn't leave these childish things behind, then he's likely to suffer, you know, really quite serious opprobrium and possibly violence, in some circumstances, possibly even death. It's worth reiterating here. The Quran is very, very vague on this whole thing. It basically says, well, you shouldn't really do it, you know. But even when it does discuss punishments for homosexuality, it's vague. It says you need 4 witnesses. And that needs 4 witnesses actually seeing the entry of the male organ into what the Quran calls the female organ, right? You actually have to have 4 guys in the room and say, yes, we did actually see it go in. I think that's kind of rare. I really do, you know, and I think it was kind of like a joke, you know. It's like, just ignore it. Let people get on with it and leave it alone. Unfortunately, you know, you always get the idiots who take things further. So anyway, what I think this really tells me, it makes me want to ask a couple of questions. First of all, if you are a closeted gay man, or homosexual male, or whatever you want to call yourself today, why the hell have you got pictures of yourself on these apps? I mean, are you suicidal or what? I'm not victim blaming. But if you come from a conservative family and you have got pictures of yourself up on these apps, well, you can bet that it's not, this is all over the world this now, it's in loads and loads of different sources. So you can bet that the uptight Christian families are doing the same thing. So I would suggest that you get these damn pictures off these sites right away and close your accounts and don't reopen them. Find out some other way to do this, because they're obviously dangerous. The people who run these apps and these services are not screening the people who are coming in. So it could be anybody. It could be anybody. And this is a very good way to at least get your head kicked in and possibly killed. So don't do it. Take them down right away. The next thing that is interesting about this story is actually more unpleasant. And that is, this is a transgender woman. Now, there are a few pictures of her about, and she don't look HSTS, right? Now I know, you can't make a definitive decision as to what someone is on a few pictures. I know that, but, Autogynephilic transgenders are often severely homophobic, and I mean dangerously so. If we remember, think back to the delightful Ms. Jenner and her interviews after she transitioned. Some of the things she said about gay culture and about homosexual males were pretty damn defensive, and a lot of people didn't like them. And she kind of got away with it because, oh, she's trans, she can't say anything wrong. That's, I'm afraid, not an acceptable standpoint at all. It's not an acceptable viewpoint. I'm afraid that trans people, and it's mainly AGPs who do this, they have to be held to account if they are actually disseminating this kind of unpleasantness, which could actually be dangerous in this case and lead to people's death. Apparently one person has already committed suicide because of the situation he found himself in, outed as gay in Morocco to a very, very homophobic family. So I'm concerned that a member of the so-called transgender community is instigated this. It wasn't even a question of being involved with this. This is apparently all her idea. And she's got this kind of weird political reasoning justification for it, to say, well, you know, I just want to show that Islamic culture is incredibly hypocritical. Well, yeah, maybe it is, but putting people's lives at risk is no way at all to deal with that. That's ludicrous. That's completely wrong. And, you know, I don't know what's going to happen next to this. I will try and keep an eye on it. It's not being very much covered because, hey, you know, it happened in Morocco. Where the hell's Morocco? It's not a state of the USA. But I will keep an eye on it. But in the meantime, I would say to anybody who's watching this who is gay and who has got a profile on one of these apps, and they're concerned about it falling into, shall we say, the wrong hands, get it down right now. Right now, don't wait. Just get it down. Because people will start doing exactly the same thing in the West. They will. Anyway, take care. See you soon. Bye.